what I would say is for any business owner out there right now, you need to take any fear you have about video production and video quality and throw it out the window.
Welcome to the Shweiki Media Expert Webinar Series, where we team up with leading marketing and publishing experts to provide you with tips and best practices to help you grow your business and stay on the cutting edge. Welcome to the show. Hello everyone, I'm here today again with Paul Kortman, and Paul is the owner of Connex Social and Digital Marketing Agency, specializing in increasing conversions and increasing quality traffic. He is a father of 4, husband of 1, world traveler, and self-proclaimed certified nerd. Paul is committed to accomplishing clients' businesses' objectives through solid strategy and on-time tactics every time. And today, we are going to be talking about how to market your small business in today's digital space, part 2. How you doing today, Paul?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me on again.
Yes, sir. I know we had too much to talk about last time, which is why we had to break this up into part 2. And for the listeners, last time, if you want to go back and reference that podcast, we talked about researching your market. We dug into SEO, email, pay-per-click, social advertising, content marketing, amongst a lot of other great stuff. But again, we ran out of time, and Paul had a lot more wisdom to bestow upon us. So today, I think where we left off is what we want to start tonight or today is videos. Videos are obviously a big part of the marketing equation these days. You never know where things are going to change, but I think for the foreseeable future, they're going to be very integral. So, Paul, love to get your take on videos, what your thoughts are on them, how business owners can possibly utilize them, any other sort of creative ideas that you might have, and potentially maybe some must-have videos. So I know I threw a bunch of questions on you all at once, so just take that question as best you can and see what you got for us.
Well, the first thing I want to throw out there is we're very visual people. We know this from marketing studies and group studies and that sort of thing, that we're programmed as babies, actually, it's in our DNA to look at people's eyes, to look for people's eyes. And so a video can communicate so much more by telling, the whole pictures are worth 1,000 words. Well, a video must be worth 1,000,000, because you're combining the audio, you're combining the visual, and you're appealing right to us as humans. So first off, we just have to look at the format and say, this is an awesome format. It's fantastic. It's it can communicate so much better and so much faster than any sort of written word. That being said, as best you can, try to appeal to both styles of learners who visit your website or visit your social media or whatever it is. You want to produce video, but it's not just 100% video. You also want to put out some text content, some picture content for folks. So while I can sing the praises of videos, I don't want you to just only do videos from here on out. That being said, one of the other things to talk about is with the introduction of YouTube and smartphones, we now have the barrier to entry has lowered significantly, and the barrier to making quality has lowered significantly. And so there's kind of this no man's land. If you were to go out and hire a video done, there's a no man's land between less than $500 and $5,000. And so if you're choking at $5,000, which most small business owners that I know would choke at that for a 1-minute video production or something like that, or a 1-minute video, that's going to cost $5,000, then you need to look at either going somewhere in between, which there isn't anybody, or going the less than $500, or doing it yourself. And what we found is there's so much more grace out there right now because social media, just in general, that we're used to videos that aren't perfectly produced. And YouTube has introduced, the culture of YouTube has introduced the quick cuts that you can just, mid-sentence cut yourself off and start yourself again, And it makes it a whole lot easier, like for a gentleman like myself, to produce a video that gets the message all the way across, because while I can talk to you just fine now, I do stumble now and again, and so when I'm on video, like I just have to cut out sometimes where I'm like, I have no idea what I was going to say next, and then splice it together, and thanks to the YouTube culture, it's accepted. And so what I would say is, for any business owner out there right now, you need to take any fear you have about video production and video quality and throw it out the window.
Yeah, let me interject on that. Yeah, we've talked about, you know, getting video a part of some company culture. We actually did a podcast with Marcus Sheridan. You might have heard of him, with the Sales Lion, and yeah, he's big on that. He's like, hey, just go, just do it, put something out. You know, the very first blog post you wrote wasn't as good as the 100th one you wrote. You got to start somewhere, and you got to get it out there. And I think his two main pointers as far as quality goes is just make sure the lighting's decent and make sure you can hear him. You know, if your audio is messed up and you can't hear it, well, then it's annoying and it's bad. So, but outside of that, he said, hey, don't worry about super high production. You'll get there. But yeah, I mean, that's a great point. And it's nice to encourage other, you know, business owners and marketers to just get out there and do it. Just start shooting. You can even shoot something from your iPhone. You know, just start and get it out there. Just make sure the lighting's decent and you can hear yourself. So yeah, I'm right on the same page with you on that.
One quick note on audio. You said it, but I want to stress it even more. Because with lighting, we can typically see that. I mean, if you're looking at yourself in your iPhone, you can say, oh yeah, lighting is fine. You can see my face. But with the audio, it is so critical, and you can't really know or test it while you're recording. And the one thing I would say is by far, never use your camera's microphone. It's always too far away. And I found, so I've been doing a lot of Facebook Live videos lately, and it's really fantastic because I just pop in my earbuds and I look like the annoying tourist because I put my iPhone in a selfie stick, so it's out a ways from me a little bit. And but because I have my earbuds in, my audio is crystal clear. And so and you can go crazy on buying the right microphone, getting a shotgun microphone, or whatever it is you want to do. But as long as you invest anything more than zero into a microphone that is closer to your mouth than your camera is, you're going to be better. And it's fantastic. And so even because of my other side project involves families, my kids, my wife, they're all in on these Facebook Live videos. My microphone close to me, as long as they're standing close to me, it picks them up as well. And, you know, these are just a set of earbuds. They're high quality earbuds, so they cost me $30, but, you know, that's it. And, and we get good audio out of that. So. Yeah,
that's a great point. I'm glad you're stressing that because he did as well. Don't put anything out there with crappy audio. So just test it, listen to it yourself, and see what happens. And if it's bad audio, well then do it again. But now let's move into some ideas. You know, where are some areas business owners can utilize video?
The first thing is an introduction video. Like, why should I care about your business? Why should I care about your product? Not your business, but your product, or what it is, the value you offer to me. And if you can communicate that in what we would call an elevator pitch, a 3-minute or 30-second elevator pitch, you're going to be much better off to put that on your website because it gives some sort of connection with the business. And whether that's you as the owner or somebody else within the business, it doesn't have to be the owner necessarily. It just has to be somebody. You know, we don't go to, you know, Apple and always see Tim Cook. We just see his keynotes. But there are lots of videos on apple.com, and it's all these other support people and, you know, professionals at the business. So, you know, I don't know why I picked Apple, but there are examples of this all over the place that it doesn't have to be the CEO, but you do have to have something that introduces people into your product or into your service. And I want to make clear on that I don't care about your building. I don't care about your staff. unless your staff is like, we have the best customer support ever and we'll take care of you, you call 24 hours a day, we're here to take your call, something like that, okay, then I might care about your staff. But in general, I don't care who's CEO or CFO or who's what or anything like that. I care about what the product or service and the value you're offering to me. And if you put that in a video, that will hook me into your business, and it will get me caught into either A, I'm in your target audience, or B, I'm not. And that is really helpful to get that out there. And then if I'm in your target audience, you've got me hooked because I'm interested in this video. So keep it short. I said 3 minutes, the 3-minute elevator pitch, that's way too long. So keep it to a minute, maybe 2 if you're really engaging. But just try to keep it out there. And then there's all kinds of other videos that you can do. So the basic one is some sort of introduction to your products or your services. And then, if you have multiple products, you can do a product review video for each one. If you have multiple services, you can do that same sort of thing. But then, for social media and for other accounts, we'll talk about YouTube in just a minute, but in general for social media, there's constantly things that can come up. And it wouldn't be like, here we have Joanne packaging the next shipment of Tom's shoes and they're sending it off, something like that. It's more along the lines of, here's a customer story that we ran into that highlights our customer service, and I just wanted to tell you about it, blah, blah, blah. And so you tell the story. Video is a storytelling medium. So if you can tell a story about how your product or service impacted somebody's business or life, that is going to be huge. And those, consider them case studies or testimonials, but those are really incredible on video. And I said testimonial. If you can capture a video of any of your clients or users talking about your product or service, that's going to be fantastic.
Or just ask them. We
exactly.
did it. Ask them. Ask them to do it.
Yeah.
And not everybody will, but if you get 3 or 4 or even 1, that's going to be powerful. So
right.
don't you don't get anything unless you ask for it, right?
Totally.
Number one sales tip of all time. So so just ask your clients.
Let's jump into YouTube for a minute because it's its own beast. So in general, you can use YouTube as the storage repository for your video files because then you can embed them anywhere and it's fine. So think of YouTube that way. But also realize that YouTube is the 2nd largest search engine in the world. And so, second only to Google, the company that owns YouTube. So what we can do is by using titles, descriptions, and tags on our YouTube videos, we can actually acquire customers from there. So a lot of times I talk to people about focus on creating a YouTube video about teaching somebody how to do what you do, or what is the problem that people are having and experiencing in order to come to you. Like, for example, for my business, they're not ranking high enough in Google. And so, it's been done a million times and it's very difficult, but your business hopefully would be different. But like, how do I rank better in Google? Well, that's a valid search that somebody would type into YouTube. So you need to create a video, or I need to, how do I rank better in Google, and have that on YouTube. And then the first link that you have in your description, which by the way should be the first word, is highlighted as a link to your website. So you can take people from watching a video, I wonder, whatever they're talking about, and you can say, click the link in the description, check out more information in the description, whatever, and that will bring people to your website in order for them to make a purchase or make a conversion or, show up to your place of business. So these are all different things that you can do. One of the searches is, best shoe repair shop in Chicago. Well, okay, if you're a shoe repair shop, and you're in Chicago, let's make a video about, why you're the best shoe repair shop in Chicago.
Or how to repair your own shoes at home. I know that sounds counterintuitive. Like, well, if I'm telling them how to do it, they're not going to need my business. Well, what's going to really happen, assuming that video gets seen and you get it in front of people, or it gets searched and found, are people going to try it, not do a good job as you can, and then come to you, or they're going to do a good job, but then when they have a nicer pair of shoes, they're going to come to you. So yeah, I mean,
The thing is to be known as the authority of like what you are the authority in whatever product or service you provide, and in order to communicate that, you teach it. And people, 9 times out of 10, people are too busy or whatever to do their own repair or their own work, and they will come to you and say, hey, can you do this for me, and I'll pay you money for it. And that's the key. So we've found that time and time again, the more you teach what it is that you do, the more people will see you as an expert, and they will come to you to do it themselves, or to have you do it.
Yep, Home Depot's huge on that. You know?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, you can think about it, you know, for your business, like, hey, what can we help somebody show them how to do what, right? And if you think, or not show, you don't have to show them how to do anything necessarily, but you can talk about a tip. If you're an accountant, you can talk about, hey, here's my tip of the week to save you on your taxes. And then just visually do it, and then you could scribe it out. Now you have a blog, and you have a video, and, you know, you're going to have visual learners, you're going to have reading learners, and this way you get to attack both. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. I love what you're saying. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Any other videos? Could we talk about like content marketing type of tips, videos, helping there, testimonials, you know, what your business is all about? Can you think of any other areas that are paramount for people getting started here that, you know, they should consider as far as videos go?
You know, personal connection ones, anybody who's going to be on the phone with somebody, just an introduction to them. Hi, I'm Susan, I have 3 dogs, and I live in Montana, or something like that.
Point.
You know,
yeah.
you give that personal connection to that person, and that, you know, if they're an account manager or a project manager or a you know, any sort of customer service rep, those sorts of people, you know, if you can give them that personal connection, it's going to help them in their sales. It's going to help them in their client communications.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, let's move on here. That's all. That's some great tips. Hope everyone really takes that to heart, because it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and you got to get going. Just get out of your comfort zone. Stop worrying about it being perfect. Not everybody has Nike's $1 million budget to produce a 30-second spot. So don't worry about it. Just get out there and do it, and you'll get better. All right. Hey, there's one platform we didn't discuss last time, a major platform that we didn't get to. I'd like to cover today is LinkedIn. Would like for you to talk specifically about this platform and how small business owners can generate business through it without spending any money. Can you give some tips here?
The biggest thing for LinkedIn is now we're talking B2B. It's very rare that you're going to use LinkedIn on a B2C level, but on a B2B level, LinkedIn is gold. And there's probably 20 different strategies to use LinkedIn. But I'm going to address, the first one I'm going to address is advertising, and I'm going to say don't do it. We've tried advertising on LinkedIn all the time, and it just, you know, as much as I love LinkedIn, they still haven't nailed their advertising right, and so it's a waste of money at this point. And I'm sorry, Reed, you can feel free to reach out to me, and I can give you advice on how to change that. But you know, don't approach LinkedIn like you would approach Facebook of, I need to throw money at it. Let's try it from a different perspective. And, you know, if it's not money, then it's time. And so there's a lot of things that you can do on LinkedIn, but it's going to take time. The first thing that you need to do is that your profile, your LinkedIn profile, needs to essentially scream what it is that the value that you provide to businesses. So it's, yeah, some people say it's my CV, it's my, you know, resume or whatever, and it's like, yeah, that's great and all, but if it doesn't scream, you know, shoe repair in Chicago, it's not, you know, it's not going to work. Now that's a business to consumer example that I gave, but you know, if it doesn't talk about computer memory producing or whatever, it's not going to be helpful to you to acquire new clients. So you know, whatever the service that you provide for other businesses, let's say coaching, you need, you know, like, I don't really care that you worked for McDonald's when you were 16. I care that you're description there talks about coaching and how you've made a difference and who you've impacted and has testimonials in there, and treat it like a mini sales page. Then once you get your profile so where it's, in my terms, screaming whatever value it is you provide to your customers, then you've got two basic ways to reach out. You can pay for the LinkedIn Pro version where you can, send out a bunch of emails through LinkedIn, and that, from time to time, depending on season of your business, that would be beneficial to do. But you have to be dedicated to reaching out, because otherwise it's a waste of your money. So, if you're not sending LinkedIn emails every week, then it's not worth your time and effort. But what you can do is, LinkedIn is gold for researching who works for what company and what titles they have. So get really familiar with LinkedIn's advanced search, that you can go in and you can say, I want all CFOs at companies with more than 30,000 employees. And it's like, boom, there you go. Now you have all your CFOs at large companies that you can reach out to and start to engage with. Some of the ways to do that is to find out what groups they're in. So you're starting to develop this list, and you're starting to not really spy on them, but you're saying, okay, these 4 people are involved in this group on LinkedIn. I'm going to go and get involved in that group. Or these people share this sort of content. Let's see if I can find some similar content and share it in their group that they're in, get their interest or whatever. And so you're basically researching and studying that person and their involvement on LinkedIn, as well as trying to get their attention and get in front of them. Remember that when they click on your name and view your profile to find out, who is this Joe, and what he seems to know a lot about, memory management or whatever, and he clicks over and he goes, whoa, dude, this guy's got, he knows everything about computer memory or whatever. We need to get him in touch with our engineers. And that's what you want, is you want somebody to actually think it was their idea, that they stumbled upon you. And so that's one way to do that through LinkedIn. But that takes knowing that that person is actively engaged on LinkedIn. And 50 to 90% of the folks who are on LinkedIn, they're not actively engaged. So the other way to go about it is, once you find those people, is you can send them an email through LinkedIn. The other thing is, not everybody always opens their emails through LinkedIn. It's not the greatest, that sort of thing. But once you know the company that they work for and you know their first and last name, it's a fairly trivial matter to find their actual email address. There are tools out there, some free, some paid, where you can go and just drop in first name, middle initial, last name, and then company domain name, and it will churn through, find all the email variations, and then actually test which one is the correct one and give you their corporate email address. So then you can reach out to them right into their inbox, and you have something to talk to them about because you've read about their LinkedIn profile. So those are essentially the 3 ways that we use LinkedIn to do this. Another way is just through groups. So find groups that your target audience would be interested in. If you're a marketing and sales coach, then you're going to be joining all the marketing groups out there and all the sales groups out there, and you're going to find out, who needs sales coaching, and then again reach out to them or whatever. But much like we were talking about with YouTube, you need to show with your content that you are an authority in this space, not as a cocky way, but in a very helpful way that people are attracted to you and saying, wow, Joe really helped me through this, or Shauna knows her stuff here. And so the more you can do that and contribute to those groups and those communities, the more those users will reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, on that groups, I mean, that's advice we, when we give proposals over here, it's marketing and consultation proposals, because you got to get clients involved. And one thing we always say, hey, go, especially on people getting going, well, especially that, but for everybody really, get involved in the specific groups. And, to Paul's point, you're going to want to be helpful. You want to give answers, and then you can casually say, and by the way, hey, we actually wrote, more about this subject, and you can access it here. You don't just want to say, drop the link and say, you want to get involved and then point people back to something else that, you've done a video or or written a blog about, and you can push them over there. Now, one thing you didn't touch on that is, we found success in is LinkedIn Publisher. Repurposing your blogs over there. Are you familiar with Publisher a lot? Do you work with it? Do you utilize it?
I am, and you're the expert here because I have not found any success with it.
Okay. Yeah. No, we definitely have. It's just another great way to get your. Now again, just like any other sort of marketing, you can't just throw one thing at the wall and then say, okay, great, I'm done, right? I mean, it's a consistent approach. It's like blogging, and yeah, as we consistently publish our blogs, share them with certain groups. It has connected me with all kinds of people, but again, it's over time. I mean like weekly or twice a month, every month, forever. So it is a bit of work, but it definitely is just another way to get stuff out there, and basically it's you go to your profile, click on write an article, and then you're in Publisher, and then from there you can share it with groups, you can share it with individuals, and again, not necessarily everything's going to happen all at once, but over time it has helped connect me with bunches of people, and it's generated inbound leads for us because people see that, you know what you're talking about, I want to talk to you. But again, it's just another consistent approach. But
so a question for you though, do you republish your content out there, or do you just share your content via your blog there?
No, republish, like LinkedIn Publisher.
Yep.
So we do both though. Do both. We have LinkedIn as a social, in under social media management, where we republish, from LinkedIn and the feed and all of that. But then on top of that, we go through Publisher. Publisher lets you tag other people. Publisher lets you share to different groups. Publisher lets you do all those things. So, and if you did collaborate with somebody, which is actually my next point I want to talk about, even more so, because then they'll be sharing it and they'll be sending it out. You tag and say, hey, great job on this, nice conversation we had, which you'll be saying happened with you, and and we push it out. You'll share it, get a new network out there, and there you go, right? But again, not every single one I do, does as good as the previous one I've done, but over time, it's definitely a great, and again, it's free, right? It's free. It just takes a little bit of elbow grease and bandwidth to get it done. So that's another tip. All right, well, cool. Let's move on to kind of what I touched on, collaboration opportunities. What you take here, any ideas, what you've done in the past, any ideas you have for something you're thinking about doing, and just your thoughts in general on collaborating.
Well, you hit on it just a second ago of extending your network. And that's the best thing about collaboration is you basically need to find somebody who has, similar network or similar reach. Not a competitor necessarily, but they happen to be, involved in a service or a product that they provide that your audience also is interested in. And it's like, okay, how can we get together and do something so that, you have to share in order to receive. You have to give to receive. And so, yeah, you're going to talk about them to your network, but they're going to talk about you to their network. And so, it can be a win-win situation, and that would be ideal, but you just have to make sure that you provide enough value. So one of the things that I've done, and this actually is something anybody should do, and this is a little bit of a stretch from the collaboration, but I took it to a collaboration level, and that's provide a testimonial for somebody who has done work for you that has a similar audience. By providing a testimonial, chances are they'll store it somewhere, and you have to write it in such a way that it's obviously glowing about them, but it talks about the product or service that they offer and whatnot. By providing that and then saying, hey, Susan, I'm willing to do a video testimonial as well, or I'd love to do a webinar with you, or let's collaborate on something, a podcast episode or something where we do it together. I talk about the service you provided for me and thereby talk about the service that I provide or the business that I do, and that will extend my network. I found really good success with that. In my industry, I'm in marketing, but there's coaches that I've used along the way, business coaches, marketing coaches, sales coaches. Well, they have other marketing folks as their clients, and I'm trying to reach out to marketing agencies to be my clients. And so by collaborating with them, providing webinars, providing content, co-publishing stuff, they push it out to their audience. Their audience gains a knowledge about me and suddenly get folded into my network. And sure, they get some of my audience, but if they did a good service, if they provided what I said they provided, then why not? Because my audience will think great things about me because I introduced them to Susan, who does really great business coaching or whatever the case might be. So that's, what I've done mostly in that is podcasting and webinars, and joint doing them together, and then the nice part is that it gets shared out to their email list, to all their social channels. If they're using something like Edgar, which I don't know if you use, but for social media it's fantastic because if they put it in there, it regurgitates it once every few months. And so it's going to come out again and again and again, and people will constantly be introduced to you, even their future network and their future audience. So
well, I believe it's your best, most engaged post will recirculate, correct? And I believe it's Meet Edgar, correct?
Meet Edgar, yeah.
Yes.
I just call it Edgar, but
yeah.
Edgar.com. And I don't know that it's the best ones. It depends on a couple of different factors, but yeah, you can set it to the best.
Okay. Awesome. Now, on the small business front, another collaboration opportunities where people don't think about, because what we've talked about is other experts, other people with large followings, all of that stuff. But to take it to the business level, another thing that we're doing with clients on the local level is collaborate with your clients, highlight them. If you're a tax accountant, you can get a business owner and say, hey, what's your secret to success? And send them a list of questions, and you highlight them. There's power in taking advantage of like vanity and ego, or just good old-fashioned back scratching, right? And then you collaborate with them, and you highlight them, share it, tag them, and then they'll share it. And then the idea is their friends and their family and people in their world will see that this happened, and they'll be notified of your business because they're reading it on your site, and your services. And also they might say, well, wow, geez Louise, man, that's really cool that they did that for them, right? So my accountant doesn't do that, right? So you don't need to think about collaboration and trying to get with the biggest the big. Go to your clients and just highlight them, see what they have to say. And if you have a business in like publishing, get the top 10, get your top 10 clients to give you their publishing tip, So you don't need to collaborate all the way up. You can collaborate, so to speak, down, in the sense that people who have less followers and less, but it's still, it's very powerful to do that. So, but in general though, link up with other people, extend your reach, scratch backs, be nice, and it'll come back to you through give, and then you can ask maybe, but you might not even need to.
One of the other things is when you're talking about collaboration with clients and elevating their ego and vanity, after that's done and they're excited about it, is a perfect time to ask for referrals. And don't go asking for referrals, please. Instead, say, hey, this was really fun. Do you know somebody else that I should talk to and do the same thing with? And essentially they're like, oh, yeah, so-and-so. Or, just by planting that question, when they do share whatever it is that you've produced, whatever type of content you've produced, when they do share that and somebody says, oh, that's so cool, how can I get one done? And you're like, oh, well, let me introduce you to Dave, because he just did this with me and he can do it with you. And so that is a fantastic way to get referrals as well, but don't ask for a referral. Ask, hey, is there anybody else that I should interview, or anybody else that you know of that I should help out in this way? You're not asking for them for, accounting, referrals. You're asking for, how can I help another business like this? And then, the more people know you, the more they know what you do, the more likely they are to use your business for the service that you provide.
All right, very cool. All right, let's move on to reviews. I first want you, if you agree about if they, the immense importance of them. I first want you. I kind of led you to know what I'm thinking, but I'm going to guess that you feel the same way. First, I want you to, just emphasize the importance of them, because in working with clients, some people get it. Some people kind of, like, oh, you set them up for success. You talk about it. You show them how to do it. Show them how to get them, which we'll talk about here. But they still aren't necessarily all the way bought in. So I want you to emphasize the importance of reviews in this day and age.
Well, let's look at it from a personal stance. And, I will say this, I am a millennial, and so you can look down on me all you want for that. But if you look at how we shop on Amazon right now, yeah, you can find the product, but only if you know specifically, like, that is the brand, that is the model I want because they have good marketing for whatever reason or whatever. The price is right, I'm going to buy it. However, if you're not familiar with it, if it's not a household name like Apple or Sony or something like that, even if it is Sony, you're going to go and read those reviews, and you're going to say, hey, what have other people experienced with this product? Okay, that's easy, Paul. Easy to talk about when you're talking on Amazon and our shopping behaviors when it comes to, products. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people that will buy in a big box store, they'll either price shop with Amazon or they will read the reviews on Amazon before they buy it in the store. And it's become a cultural thing now, but really what it is it harkens back to the day of when, we trust those we know, we trust other people in their experience, and we're looking into, am I going to get taken by this? Is this worth my money? And that whole concept, the whole question comes to when they're buying services as well, or as a business when they're buying it. We call it, fancy terms like due diligence, but really all it is we want to see, have other people gotten screwed by this before? Or, how well is it? Or what should I order? Or what is the problem? Or what are the great things? And you're going to get compared to your competition based on those reviews. So is it important? Nah, not at all. Neither is having a website, You don't need that. In service businesses, there's different things like Angie's List, when we're talking like plumbers and service providers, lawyers, attorneys, that sort of thing. There's also Yelp. Occasionally, Yelp is more for the brick and mortar, but all of these things are something that you need to be paying attention to as a small business owner. You need to go out there and find out, do you have a profile on there, and has anybody written a review about you? If so, if not, what can you do about it? And then the other thing is to encourage people to write reviews. We have service providers that after after a chiropractor visit, we'll get an email from them, a personal email that just says, hey, I wanted to see how is your adjustment, 2 days later, 3 days later, something like that. How's it coming about? And then if we respond in a positive, affirmative way, he'll say, great, do you mind writing a review over on Yelp for me? And that small little prompt only takes me 5 minutes to go and do, but it's going to provide a ton of value for him. Now, sure, he could incentivize me to do that and offer, a coupon or a discount or whatever, but then technically I'm supposed to disclaim it, and so I wouldn't recommend doing any of that.
And I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Not only for that reason, but it doesn't work as well.
No,
it doesn't work. I mean, yeah, everyone needs to understand this. When you're asking for reviews, it needs to be altruistic, and do not offer anything. You offer thanks. You offer, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. Greatly appreciate it, but do not offer incentives. It doesn't work. It literally does. It works. It goes negative. It hurts the opportunity to get more reviews. So that's a great point you bring up, and I'm 100% on the same page with you there.
People can sniff out those sorts of fake things, and so it's better to have no reviews or few reviews than fake or incentivized reviews. But if you have a passionate customer will use the title of a book, a raving fan, then having them take 5 minutes out of their time and write a review. Now, while I won't incentivize it, I will provide content to springboard off of. Like, the best thing about Paul's service was XYZ, and just let them fill out X, Y, and Z. These sorts of starters that help people get the creative juices flowing. It just helps them, because otherwise they're looking at a blank text box and they're going, I don't know what to write. And it's like, here, let me just give you a couple of ideas. Like, oftentimes for my clients, I will have them write a blog post that says, hey, if you want to give a review for somebody, whether it's me or somebody else, here's some creative idea generators or whatever, and they'll link to that blog post when they ask for a review on one of these sites. And they'll say, hey, if you need some help getting started, there's some templates I've provided over here. So you don't have to always copy and paste it and figure out where it is. You just drop that URL in there, and then people can go and visit it. There's some disagreement as to whether or not having that click makes it more work, or should you copy and paste it, put it right in the email. I don't care. Either way, you're helping them to help you, and then just like you said, offer something. Offer assistance, or let me know how I can help, or like, hey, I'd love to do you need a review on a site or anything like that? Like, not incentivize them, but just be heartfelt about your appreciation for it, and let them know how much it improves your business. By the way, we have found service providers that have raving reviews and 25 or 45 5-star reviews or whatever, and we go and use them. We have a positive experience, and then we see their system afterwards of follow up and thank you and, hey, would you mind writing a review? And it's kind of like, what? They're finding success that way because they don't have any other lead generation system. It's just, hey, would you write a review on Google Places, or would you write a review on Yelp? And because people are going to be searching for a dentist in, Wyoming, and they need to find somebody, and I'm going to rank well because of these reviews. So I appreciate it. And if that's all you have to do to bring in new clients, wow, that's super simple. And get off your high horse and be humble enough to ask.
Yeah.
Just like you had said earlier, if you don't ask, you're not going to receive.
Yeah, that's right. And not to mention, reviews play immense, as you know, you're an SEO guy, they play an immense part of the equation on search and getting ranked. It's a big, big part, and Google takes that into consideration. Now, a couple other pointers for the reviews is we talked about it, but you do want to make it as easy as possible on people. So do provide a link, hey, click here to write a review on Yelp or Google, whatever ones, if it is Angie's List or if there is like specific industry websites, have them click on the link and it pops up exactly to the place where all they need to do is do the star rating and write the review. So, make sure you make it easy on them. Do that. A couple big pointers that we've talked about is don't be afraid to ask. That's where people fall short. It's okay to ask. You're not telling them, give me a 5-star rating and say, do this. But you are, ask. So ask, make it easy on them, and don't incentivize them with any sort of like product. Just be gracious, ask them if there's anything else they can do for you, but just know that it's a big part of buying decisions and it's a big part of search. So do this. Just do it. Trust us. It's a big deal.
And what I've done, here's a couple of handy tools for you. I actually do the same thing for LinkedIn because LinkedIn is a huge generator for us. And so personally, I want reviews on my LinkedIn profile as well as some of my sales staff. And so we have a template that we've put together with the link that if you're logged into LinkedIn, it goes right to the review Paul Kortman page.
That's exactly what you need to do.
And then there's a plugin that you can get for Chrome on if you're using Gmail or Google Apps for your email called Canned Responses. Actually, it's a labs function. But anyways, and then you can put a template in there. And so it's super simple that I get somebody who has said something favorable to me about my service, and I just quick hit reply, open the canned response, drop it in. So it's got all the links to here's some conversation starters. Here's the link to my to review me on LinkedIn. Here's the link to review me on Yelp, and would just love to have something from you. So I don't have to create it from scratch every time. I spent a half hour, 45 minutes creating that once. Now I have that template in my canned response, and anytime I get somebody that emails me something favorable about our service, or wow, that was really great, hey, can you write a review? And I just drop in that template and we're good to go.
Awesome. Yeah, and a couple other, from my experiences, and let me know if you agree or disagree here, but make sure you reply to reviews, good and bad. If somebody says something nice, reply, thanks so much, blah, blah, blah. If it's a bad review, just, address it professionally. But I also, in my opinion, suggest don't go to like extreme forms to get bad reviews removed. If you have a bunch of good reviews and you have some bad ones sprinkled in there, it's actually a net positive than just having all 5-star reviews. All 5-star reviews have you raise an eyebrow.
A little sketchy.
Really? But if you have a 1-star and you have a 3-star and you have a 4-star and you have a 2 mixed in with bunches of good stuff, it actually legitimizes. And I kind of learned this mainly from Jay Baer, who was on our podcast, and he wrote Hug Your Haters and stuff, that book, that big-time book about social customer service, and we talked about reviews, and that was a big point over this. There's a study that shows that it's actually more effective to have some bad reviews mixed in with your good reviews. So don't sweat it, and in fact, when you have a bunch of good reviews and you have a bad one, actually be thankful for that, because it's helping you. And just reply to it. I'm sure, if you're a good business who has lots of good reviews, then, it's probably just some weirdo person who had a bad day, And not to mention, you might be able to turn them into a advocate. You never know. It's a big opportunity to address unhappy customers. So what's your take on that? Agree, disagree, anything to add?
Totally agree. I would say that a lot of times people can infer and understand more than what's going on. So they kind of look at that and they go, well, she's just a cranky customer, yeah, you don't expect freebies just because you're having a bad day or something like that. So, if there's anything of where, they don't understand the full story or whatever, feel free to explain, but don't start getting in a pissing match where you're blaming the customer or something like that. Respond appropriately, like, hey, Susan, I'd really love for you to come in, have a free meal on us. Let's try again. We try, and we're human, and sometimes we fail. We'd love to make it up to you and try again. Or something like that. Perfect. Because just acknowledging that you're a human, your business isn't, but you're run by humans, and humans don't always get everything right perfectly. And apologize and own up to it. Instead of getting in a pissing match, you're going to look like the better person, no matter how they respond or if they don't. People will realize, hey, this is a real business owner, this is a real person trying to find success in the world, and they make mistakes. Now, 45 people said they had a 5-star experience, and one person said they had a 2 or a 1-star experience. Totally get it. People are going to be gracious about that. So just like you said, don't sweat it. I would also, encourage, just encourage that, trying to establish a relationship there, because, for me, if I've screwed up with any of my clients, and they're reasonable people, there are some clients who are not always reasonable, but if they're reasonable people, I want to make it up to them. And if I can do that, so I can leave them, I know we're going to part ways, but I can leave them with at least a mild flavor in their mouth instead of a bitter, nasty experience. That's going to be better for me as a small business owner than it would be to just let somebody walk away with a nasty experience. So I would look at it as a more personal basis of just, hey, not that you can make that person happy, but what could you do to try and make it better or make it up to them and see what happens.
Yep, awesome. All right, man. I think we're ending our time together today. Before I let you go, do you have any big predictions for the future on what might change in the area of digital marketing for small business owners that you see coming up here?
I think the big thing that has been talked about, but we haven't seen the full effect of it yet, is voice search. It's going to be huge. It's going to change, like Alexa and Google and all of these things. Not Alexa? What is it called? Is it Alexa?
No, you got
okay.
it.
Amazon.
I have one. We have our Alexas. I love her and hate her.
Yep. But the thing is, they're just going to get better and better, and they're going to be more prolific and more prolific. Our cell phones are going to get faster at voice search, and so like pay attention to that, and pay attention to what is it that people would type versus what would they say, and start trying to lean towards creating content around what they might say that would bring them to you.
Agree wholeheartedly. Great point. Awesome. All right, Paul, how can people continue to learn from you?
We're over at ConnexDigitalMarketing.com. That's CONNEX. We're on all the socials, so go ahead and search us up there. But my favorite channel is Twitter, and I'd love to help you out in any way. Feel free to ask any questions you have.
All right. Awesome, Paul. Thanks for your time today, and until next time.
All right.